My husband demanded a DNA test to deny that the baby was his. He was having an affair and planning to take control of my father-in-law's company. The words that just came out of my husband's mouth are far worse than the pain that rips through me like a sharp blade. Adam comes forward, his pricey suit immaculately ironed despite the 12 hours we've spent in this delivery room. While I'm still gasping for air, trembling, and drenched in sweat. I want a DNA test. He doesn't question our baby daughter's paternity. His voice is dispassionate and flat, as if he's ordering coffee. With her hands still holding our baby, my baby, the nurse freezes. The beeping monitors suddenly become too loud and obtrusive, and the room appears to shrink. Dr. Collins's wrinkled face wrinkles in worry as he looks up from his charts. Adam, what are you talking about? My voice has an odd, aloof quality, as if it were someone else's. He refuses to look at me. Rather, he looks coldly and calculatingly at our daughter, who weighs 7 pounds 4 ounces of perfection. You heard me, McKenna. I want proof she's mine. Like poison gas, the accusation lingers in the air. This is the result of 12 years of marriage. To make him feel even a small portion of the agony pulsing through my chest, I want to shout and throw something. Rather, I chuckle. It's a harsh, bitter, terrible sound. Get out. In my mouth, the words taste like metal. Get out before I call security. Dr. Collins begins. Mrs. Harrison, but Adam interrupts. I have every right to be here and every right to request this test. His fingers skim the screen as he takes out his phone. My lawyer says, Your lawyer? You've been talking to your lawyer while I was in labor? I blurt out. The only indication that he is still capable of feeling guilt is a faint flush that appears on his neck. I've been preparing for this moment for weeks. Weeks. The term keeps repeating in my mind. My husband was organizing this ambush as I was folding little onesies and choosing nursery colors. I feel as though I've been physically struck by the understanding. Bless the nurse, she puts herself in our way. Sir, perhaps we should continue this discussion outside. No. I ignore my aching body's protest and push myself to sit up straighter. Let him stay. Let him watch the test. Let him see exactly how wrong he is. Something flickers in Adam's eyes, but his expression remains unchanged. Disappointment? Solace? I'm no longer able to tell. I used to be familiar with all his telltale signs and micro-expressions. At what point did my husband lose his identity? Dr. Collins adds, I'll arrange it immediately, in a deliberately bland tone, though I must say, in my 30 years of practice. Just do it, instructs Adam. I used to find his nervous habit of straightening his tie charming. The sooner we know the truth, the better. The truth, as though he still knows what that word implies. My girl, our daughter, is sleeping soundly in the bassinet, oblivious to the storm that is building all around her. Her dark hair, like mine, is already beginning to curl, and her little fingers are balled into fists. Even though my hands are shaking, I answer, fine, in a calm voice. Do the test, but when it proves what I already know, don't expect forgiveness. It buzzes on Adam's phone. When he looks at it, his mask briefly comes off. Guilt? Terror? He's on his way to the door before I can comprehend it. He says, I'll be back tomorrow, without turning around. My lawyer will contact you about the arrangements. After he leaves, the door clicks shut, and I can breathe again. Dr. Collins touches my shoulder tenderly. McKenna, I'm so sorry. Don't. My fingers already discover Sam's number as I grab for my phone. I'll let my cousin know what to do. He always does. Just get me the paperwork for the test. And Dr. Collins, make sure it's witnessed at every step. His eyes light up with comprehension as he nods. Of course. I gaze at my daughter once more, committing to memory every exquisite feature of her face. One thing is certain. Regardless of the game Adam is playing or the falsehoods he is telling himself, he doesn't know what he's begun. After 3 days in the hospital, Sam's flat feels like a haven. As Tara bustles around the kitchen brewing tea, I curl up with Emma on his worn leather couch. My worries are calmed by the familiar smell of coffee grounds and old books, but my hands continue to shake. He's changed all the locks, I observe. Sam is pacing. Changed the security codes too. 12 years of marriage, and he locks me out like I'm some kind of criminal. With his journalist notebook already stuffed with scrawled notes, Sam stops pacing. When exactly did things start changing with Adam? Think back carefully. The inquiry is a kind of gut strike. I close my eyes and attempt to remember when my marriage started to go apart. Maybe 4 months ago? I say. He started working late, missing doctor's appointments. Said it was a big merger, the Preston Tech deal. Tara's expression is disturbed as she puts down a mug of chamomile tea. That closed months ago. I gave it a quick glance. How do you know that? Because my sister works in their PR department. Tara and Sam exchange glances. The deal fell through in March. When Adam began bringing pricey new suits home. When the enigmatic business travel started. When he completely stopped caressing me. Sam taps his pen against the notebook and says, "This is what doesn't add up. Why wait until the baby is born to demand a DNA test? Why not do it during pregnancy?" Because he needed a scene, states Tara in a low voice. He needed witnesses. It dawns on me like a blast of cold water. He's assembling evidence against me. Emma stirs in my arms, and I instinctively move her blanket. Her little face reminds me of how calm and trustworthy I used to be. Sam says, "There's something else," but he hesitates. I made some calls. Adam's been meeting with divorce attorneys since January. When I initially informed him of my pregnancy, he remarked that everything was fine as he grinned and gave me a hug. That son of a, I stopped myself and glanced down at Emma. Why go through with the pregnancy if he was planning this all along? Because of the Harrison family trust, Tara responds accordingly. Your father-in-law's will had specific conditions about heirs, didn't it? Things begin to come together. The trust only pays out if there are legitimate children. Even I can hear the hollowness in my voice. He needed proof the baby wasn't his to invalidate the claim. Sam hears a buzzing sound on his phone. His face darkens as he looks at it. Adam just posted on LinkedIn. He's accepted a new position at Grant Technologies. Grant. Something in my memory is triggered by the name. Wait, isn't that the company that tried to buy out Harrison Industries last year? Sam concludes. The same one your father-in-law refused to sell to before he died. We all jump when someone knocks on the door. Glancing through the peephole, Tara takes a rapid step back. It's Adam. Don't open it, I say and squeeze Emma tighter. Adam's words, McKenna, echo through the door. I know you're in there. The DNA test is scheduled for tomorrow morning. My lawyer insists you be present. I take Sam's arm as he approaches the door. Wait, let him talk. Adam goes on, his voice becoming almost soft. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Just come home. We can work this out. I slowly get to my feet so as not to wake Emma. Work what out, Adam? The lies? The secret meetings? Or how about the trust fund you're trying to steal? Quiet next. I don't know what you think you know. I know enough. I no longer tremble when I speak. I know about Grant Technologies. I know about the divorce lawyers. And soon, I'll know everything else too. One more pause. The veneer of tenderness vanishes when he talks again. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Neither do you. My heart hardens as I gaze down at our kid, my girl. Game on, Adam. He backtracks along the corridor. After locking the door, Sam looks at me. What's the plan? I take my phone out and go through my old contacts until I locate the one I need. First, we find out everything we can about Grant Technologies. And then I hit dial. We call in some favors. Before a recognizable voice responds, the phone rings again. Dr. Collins? I need your help with something. With a somber expression, Dr. Collins slips the phone across his desk. These messages were automatically backed up to the cloud account you shared. I thought you should see them. When I take up the smartphone, my hands shake. 3:47 a.m. is the timestamp displayed. I went into labor 2 days prior. The message says, everything's arranged. Once the test results come back, she won't have any claim to the trust. Make sure you stick to the plan. Adam has responded. She suspects nothing. Just keep your father focused on the merger. Evelyn Grant, says Dr. Collins in a low voice. Daughter of Marcus Grant. I find the name to be bitter. Last year, he attempted to compel my father-in-law to sell his business. With his journalistic instincts taking over, Sam leans forward. The same Marcus Grant who mysteriously acquired 3 board seats after your father-in-law's death? I continue to scan through texts, each one getting worse. Plans, meetings, and personal information make me queasy. They have been dating since January, when I informed him about the pregnancy. When Sam says, the timing's not coincidental. Grant Technologies announced their hostile takeover bid last week. With Adam's help, they'll have controlling interest in Harrison Industries. Unless there's a legitimate heir, the parts fit together perfectly. That's why he needs the DNA test to show Emma isn't his. It's not about the baby at all. It's about the company. We are interrupted by a knock. Tara enters with a pale face. Adam's here with lawyers. Even though my heart is racing, I make myself remain composed. Let them in. Adam walks in with 2 suits that probably cost more than my yearly income, as if he owns the place. He's wearing a tie I've never seen before, and he appears colder and sharper. Dr. Collins begins. This is a private medical facility, but Adam interrupts. We're conducting a paternity test that my client has every right to oversee. The senior attorney takes the stand. We have concerns about potential tampering. I chuckle. I'm unable to stop it. Tampering? That's rich coming from you. Adam's mouth clenches. Careful, McKenna. You're already facing potential fraud charges. I hold out the phone and ask, what if these messages somehow become public? The ones showing you and Evelyn planning to steal your father's company. He becomes motionless. I catch a glimpse of genuine terror in his eyes. You had access to your private messages? On our shared cloud account. I get to my feet, my rage giving me courage. The one you forgot to disconnect when you were so busy planning your little corporate takeover. Something is whispered in Adam's ear by the younger attorney. His expression gets gloomy. He responds, this changes nothing, but his tone falters. The test will proceed exactly as planned. Dr. Collins cuts in, under my supervision, with witnesses present. Unless you'd prefer to explain to the board why you're plotting with Grant Technologies while serving as Harrison Industries CFO. Sam moves forward while Adam's hand fumbles with his phone. I wouldn't. My article about corporate espionage at Grant Technologies goes live in an hour. Fascinating stuff about insider trading and family betrayal. Adam responds, you're bluffing. Yet his forehead is dripping with perspiration. I approach while speaking quietly. You want a war, Adam? Fine. But remember, you taught me everything about corporate finance during those late-night strategy sessions. Everything, McKenna. And I learned something else from you too. I show him his most recent communication to Evelyn, which has to do with love and the words forever. Always keep receipts. The attorneys look at each other. His throat is cleared by the elder. Perhaps we should discuss terms. No terms, I respond, observing Adam's flawless exterior crumble. No deals. You wanted to play dirty? Let's play. But remember, you're not just fighting for money anymore. You're fighting for survival. Adam's shoulders are stiff with rage as they depart. Sam lets out a faint whistle. That was just the beginning. I finished, sitting back down as my legs threatened to give out. Doctor, how long till the test results? Collins, 24 hours, he adds, closely examining me. Are you certain of this? After we begin. I'm sure. I glance at the picture of him and my father-in-law at the medical school graduation that is on his desk. He made the incorrect decisions. I'm not going to make the same error. Squeezing my shoulder, Sam asks, what comes next? I take out my personal phone and navigate to a number I never would have imagined. We then speak with Evelyn Grant. She has to find out what sort of man she's actually interacting with. I feel small as I adjust Emma's carrier on my arm, trying to see my reflection in the polished marble of the Grant Technologies lobby, which gleams with wealth and power, all steel and glass reaching toward the sky. I'm wearing one of Adam's favorite suits, the one he bought me for board meetings, and it fits differently now, but the armor is what counts. The receptionist says, Miss Grant is in a meeting, without even looking up. Tell her McKenna Harrison is here, I add, keeping my voice calm. With her fiancé's baby. Her head shoots up, eyes widening as she takes in Emma's dark hair, which are much like Adam's, and the clicking of keys stops. After 5 minutes, I find myself seated across from Evelyn Grant in her corner office. She is younger than I thought she would be, and her engagement ring, which is 3 carats in princess cut, is perfectly polished, resembling the one in Adam's browser history. But her hands betray her, squeezing a pen until her knuckles turn white. I don't understand, she says. Adam never mentioned a wife, a baby, Emma fusses, but I handle it with practiced ease. Funny how those details slip his mind when he's planning corporate takeovers. Color fades from her face. You can't prove, she says. With screenshots visible, I move my phone across her desk. I can, in fact. What will your father say when he finds out that his ideal future son-in-law is still married? That he's manipulating Harrison Industries stock by utilizing your relationship? She says, you're lying. But she's already reading, swiping through messages with her immaculately manicured finger. I go on, observing her expression. The DNA test is tomorrow. Adam seems pretty certain about the results, almost as if he knows something I don't. She looks up abruptly, and her eyes flicker with dread and recognition. Sam's text makes my blood run cold, and my phone buzzes. Lab was broken into last night. Security footage was deleted. Evelyn murmurs, he wouldn't, more to herself than to me. Your father's company stands to gain millions if Harrison Industries falls. I declare, leaning forward. And Adam stands to gain everything. unless there's a legitimate heir. When the pen she is holding breaks, ink spills down her immaculate desk calendar, discoloring both merger dates and wedding venue appointments. "Get out," she says, trembling, before I call security. I slowly stand up, drawing Emma next to me. "What's funny, do you know? 5 years ago, he purchased the same ring for me, promised me the same thing, indefinitely, utilized the same pet names as well." I said, "Get out." I whisper, "Check his phone. The one he keeps in his gym locker. The one that conveys genuine messages." She becomes motionless. "How did you?" "Because I used to be you. Young, in love, and sure that he was unique." I make my way to the door, then stop. "Oh, and Evelyn, pay attention to his left eyebrow when you confront him. When he lies, it quivers." On her broken face, the elevator doors close. "It's done," I text Sam, my hand shaking. "Begin the second phase." He responds right away. "Tara's lab contact verified attempts at manipulation. Test being moved to secure location by Dr. Collins." My heart stops when I open another message that appears from an unknown number. Adam writes, "Clever girl. But you can't remember who taught you how to play chess? Check your email from Harrison Industries. The creative accounting remedies you assisted me with last year are going public. You have an hour to leave the board, or it's your turn." My stomach churns as I realize how long Adam has been plotting this. I stare at the screen, remembering late evenings spent poring over spreadsheets, following his advice, and signing agreements he swore were regular. I see my father-in-law's fortitude, my own resolve, and something else, something Adam never understood about the Harrison legacy, in Emma's face as she stirs, her little fingers capturing my finger. I call Dr. Collins. "How soon will you get access to last year's original audit files?" "Already done," he responds. "And McKenna, I discovered something intriguing in your father-in-law's personal documents. It has to do with a backup plan." I'm grinning for the first time in days. "Tell me everything." The game is only getting started. With its clean whiteness and security cameras monitoring our every step, the safe lab feels like a fortress. Dr. Collins stands at the testing station, his face impassive, while Adam's lawyers hover close, and Emma sleeps in her carrier, unaware of the tension that permeates the space. Dr. Collins says, "All parties will remain present, and the results will be available in 30 minutes. With mascara smearing her cheeks and her flawless poise ruined, Evelyn storms in as the door flings open. "You're a jerk." Adam takes a step back, his self-assured facade falling off. "Evelyn, this isn't the locker at the gym." She throws her phone in his direction. It strikes the wall with a crash. "You're still married, despite having 3 other ladies." The lawyers look at one another in panic, and one of them grabs for his briefcase, but Sam stops him. "Until we hear those results," he continues softly, "nobody leaves." I had forgotten Adam's uneasy gesture until he straightened his tie. "This is absurd. Whatever you heard from McKenna." "She didn't have to tell me anything," Evelyn murmurs. "Your friend Marcus was quite helpful once I showed him the real numbers behind the Grant Technology merger." Adam's face loses color. "You didn't. Daddy's on his way," she replies, her smile harsh and cruel. With the SEC, a message from Tara says, "Security footage recovered. Lab break-in suspect identified." My phone vibrates. I slide the phone to Dr. Collins, who stares at Adam's younger lawyer and begins to perspire after examining the picture. Dr. Collins remarks, "Interesting. Very interesting indeed." I can see Adam's eyes flip between us, calculating that expression he gets when he's about to give up a piece to keep his game alive. "The accounting discrepancies," he continues abruptly, "all of which McKenna approved. She bears equal responsibility. With the exception of the backup plan," I interrupt, observing his expression. "The one my father-in-law left with Dr. Collins prior to his passing." Adam becomes motionless. "What?" "Adam, he was aware concerning the embezzlement, concerning Grant Technologies, including your attempts to access Emma's trust fund before she was even born." I reply steadily. "He documented everything." The senior attorney clears his throat, saying, "Mr. Harrison, maybe we ought to stop talking." Adam utterly loses his cool and turns to face me, his fists clenched. "You're playing a bluff. Richard never did. Your father trusted me," whispers Dr. Collins quietly, not just as his doctor, but as executor of his estate, including the real will. The device emits a beep. "Test results ready." Sam stops Adam before he can get the printout. "It's over," Sam declares. "The SEC has everything. The fake DNA test orders, the embezzlement records, even your deals with Marcus." Adam backs away from the door when he hears heavy, deliberate footsteps echoing in the hallway. McKenna, he attempts, his tone lessening to that well-known deceptive one. We can still make this right. For Emma's benefit. Don't you dare use our daughter as a bargaining chip. I shout, my words blazing like venom. The door opens, and Marcus Grant comes in first, followed by two SEC agents, while Tara records everything with her phone. One agent says, Adam Harrison, you are being investigated for securities fraud. The events that follow are shown in slow motion. Sam yells something about betrayal. Adam rushes toward the emergency exit. The younger lawyer blocks him, and Emma sleeps soundly through it all, oblivious to the fact that her world is turning on its axis. Dr. Collins holds out the test findings while touching my arm. Are you curious? I look at the paper and go back to all the times I questioned whether Adam was telling the truth or if I had failed as a mother or a wife. As I watch the SEC agents handcuff my spouse, I finally respond, no, because the outcomes are no longer important. She is my daughter. I only need to know that. Marcus Grant walks toward his tomb. Mrs. Harrison, your testimony is required tomorrow. I interrupt, drawing Emma next to me. I'm taking my daughter home right now. And as we go, I hear Adam yelling my name, desperate now, realizing what he's lost. And I don't turn back. Some games aren't worth winning, and some victories come from walking away rather than seeking revenge. I have all I need in my arms tonight. But tomorrow will come, attorneys, testimony, and struggles for control of Harrison Industries. Perhaps it's because half of the board resigned when the SEC probe went public, or perhaps it's because Dr. Collins is constantly looking at his watch, or Sam avoids eye contact. But the Harrison Industries boardroom is colder than I remember. Spreading papers across the gleaming table, Marcus Grant declares, the evidence is conclusive. The DNA test results were altered before they reached the lab. However, my client maintains that Mrs. Harrison was complicit in the financial irregularities. Adam's new attorney interrupts. The signatures on these documents were forged. I say, but even I sound insincere. I never. Can you demonstrate it? Because these trading records show otherwise, the attorney says, advancing further documents. During the relevant period, there were significant transfers to your personal account. Adam requested that I cease keeping an eye on our joint account because he had it handled, and my hand shakes when I recognize the account numbers. Sam rises up suddenly and says, this is absurd. When McKenna approved these transactions, she was on maternity leave. The timestamps say otherwise. The lawyer's smirk is shark-like. The contingency plan has been compromised. Marcus Grant begins, his words tumbling like stones, while Dr. Collins clears his throat. Last night, someone gained access to Richard Harrison's secret files. Everything is gone. The room whirls, and I hold on to the edge of the table as the floor moves beneath me. That isn't feasible. The security procedures. The lawyer explains, almost empathetically, we bypassed using your credentials, along with some very interesting emails about offshore accounts. My phone is buzzing, and Tara is sending me urgent updates. Speculation about the DNA test issue is growing on social media. News sites are reporting on fraud at all levels of Harrison Industries, and the business stock is plunging. I can explain. I begin, but Adam's attorney raises his hand. Save it for the SEC hearing. In the meantime, the board has called for an emergency vote of no confidence. Given the circumstances, he says, standing up and arranging his papers. You can't. I cry, my throat clenched. My father-in-law dedicated his life to this business. He had faith in me. I recoil when I hear Adam's voice. He stands in the doorway, spotless even with his ankle monitor for home imprisonment. As if I trusted you not to tell Evelyn behind my back. Don't you dare. The board needs stability, he adds calmly. Someone with clean hands to bring it through this storm. Thankfully, I have a deal with the SEC that calls for complete cooperation in return for a lighter sentence. The falsified signatures, the corrupted data, and the meticulously crafted paper trail that leads directly to me all fit together. The understanding tastes like ash as I reply. You're going to pin everything on me? The fraud, the cover-up, all of it. I told Evelyn that he twitches his left eyebrow. McKenna, you caused this yourself. If you had only cooperated, did you play along? I get up so fast that my chair falls over. You stole my daughter's inheritance. Richard built everything, but you ruined it all. Your daughter. His grin turns ruthless. Roughly, the results of the initial DNA test were really intriguing. The audience falls silent, and as Sam approaches, Adam's security personnel intervene. You're lying. I murmur, but skepticism seeps in like poison. I think about all those late hours at work, the enigmatic business trips, and how he never wanted to talk about nursery colors or baby names. Am I? He takes out his phone and displays a lab result that I had never seen before. Do you want to know how these genetic markers work? Adam's attorney interrupts Dr. Collins before he can finish speaking. In light of the situation, my client is ready to request complete custody. When evaluating a person's suitability for parenthood, the court typically disapproves of fraud and embezzlement. I hear Emma's midnight sobs and morning laughter, see her face with her small fingers and dark curls, and feel the weight of her in my arms, the only thing that has seemed genuine since this nightmare started. The board votes in an hour. Adam replies quietly, so step down immediately. Give us your shares, and we might be able to set up supervised visits. I sway, and Sam takes my arm. McKenna, don't. My vision is blurring though, and I'm already reaching for the resignation letter. Sometimes surrendering isn't about giving up. Sometimes it's about buying time to fight in a different way. Sam stands guard at the door while Tara works her magic on the computer, and Dr. Collins's office feels strange at midnight, with shadows creeping across his father's medical degrees and the steady hum of backup generators masking our footsteps. Found it, she murmurs. The original backup of the server. During the purge, Adam's crew didn't notice it. When I put in the flash drive Richard Harrison gave me years ago, his insurance policy, which I never imagined I'd need. My hands tremble. How much time? Tara's fingers dart across the keyboard as she says, if your father-in-law's passwords still work, it will take 10 minutes to decrypt. Adam stands with 2 security guards on either side of him, his ankle monitor glowing accusingly in the dark as the door slams wide. I knew you'd try something desperate. He straightens his handcuffs and enters. How about breaking and entering? That will appear awful during the custody hearing. Sam shifts between us. How did you discover? Adam's eyes do not meet his smile. Dr. Collins isn't as devoted as you believed. Everybody has a cost. Like the cost of Evelyn? Or was she just another stepping stone? The words have a harsh bite. For a moment, he loses his composure. You don't understand what's at stake. Tara whispers, 7 minutes. Behind me. Adam narrows his gaze. It won't matter what you're attempting to recover. Tomorrow morning, the board will cast its vote. Your resignation has already been handled. As I watch the progress meter crawl, I remark, the funny thing about resignations is that they're not valid if they were signed under duress, or if the person requesting them is engaging in fraud. He chuckles, but there's a hint of doubt. You can't prove anything. 5 minutes, replies Tara. Adam gives the guards a signal. Stop it now. Wait. I take a step forward and play my final card. The actual DNA results. Bring them to me. We've been through this. Either show me, or I'll send the SEC whatever we discover. Each and every email, each and every transaction, each time you met with Marcus Grant. He twitches his left eyebrow. You're bluffing. 3 minutes, declares Tara. Sam stiffens, prepared to step in as the guards approach the computer. She's yours. Everyone is frozen in place by Adam's comments. The actual test. The DNA test. It demonstrates you own her. I needed leverage, so I changed the outcomes. I just sense clarity, even though the admission should be painful. In any case, you never desired her, did you? She was merely another resource to manage. 2 minutes. At last, Adam's facade breaks. You believe this has to do with a baby? Richard promised me authority and control when he appointed me CFO, and that's what this is all about. I whisper, he promised you a legacy, not a kingdom to steal. 1 minute. Adam jumps for the computer, but Sam stops him while Tara covers the screen. Amidst the confusion, a phone that I've never seen before falls out of Adam's pocket, and I quickly find the messages. Talks with Marcus Grant, plans to steal parts from Harrison Industries, and more emails from Dr. Collins. With a triumphant, it's done, Tara declares. Everything's decrypted. Adam becomes motionless. You don't want to open that file. However, I already am. The room is filled with the voice of Richard Harrison, who made a video confession only days before he died, naming people, outlining plans, and revealing one more surprise. Finally understanding, I tell Adam, Richard changed his will before he died. The company was never yours to steal. Emma was left in charge of his interest. Impossible. Adam, trembling, adds, she wasn't even born. I show him the will's date. Adam, he was aware. Almost everything, including the fraud, the affairs, and the agreements with Grant Technologies. You've been playing the exact game he anticipated the entire time. Adam's face twists in rage as he hears police sirens blaring in the background. You believe you've triumphed? The board, the proof, and your written confession are still with me. Sam whispers, check your phone. The real one you just dropped. With the SEC reopening their investigation, Marcus Grant making agreements to save himself, Evelyn's father withdrawing all support, and Dr. Collins sending one more message, Adam's eyes widen as the communications pour in. Richard, I fulfilled my pledge. The heritage of your granddaughter is secure. Some wins aren't about winning. They're about defending what counts most. As Adam collapses, his empire of lies crumbling around him, the cops storm in. But I'm already leaving, thinking of Emma sleeping soundly at home. There are still remnants of yesterday night's pandemonium in the Harrison Industries boardroom. Evidence markers litter the conference table where Adam's business finally fell apart. Police tape crosses the entryway, and Dr. Collins offers me a leather portfolio. The private documents of Richard Harrison. When the time was right, he wanted you to have these, he says softly. Beneath years of financial documents and business plans, I discover a letter inside. The paper is old, the ink is fading, but Richard's firm handwriting is still legible. My beloved McKenna, you'll see why I chose you to guard Emma's estate by now. That legacy isn't measured in stock prices or merger deals, not because you're Adam's wife, but because you saw what he couldn't. It is ingrained in decision-making moments, in choosing to defend instead of destroy. Emma fusses about her job. I shift her blanket, see my image in the darker windows, and I appear different in some way. Stronger, perhaps, or simply more confident. Sam shows up at the door. The SEC wants to review the video testimony again, and Evelyn Grant is here. When Evelyn walks in, I anticipate fury, but all I see in her eyes is tiredness. She says, Daddy is resigning. The board approved the dissolution of the merger attempt. She twists her now ringless fingers and rambles. The scandal, I told her I never wanted this. And for the most part, it's true. Neither did I. Something softens in Evelyn's face as she looks at Emma. He also promised me children, you know? A future in which I genuinely had faith. I know, I responded, because I did too once. The doctor clears his throat. The new members of the board are ready. They will require guidance about the company's future. Richard's letter, decisions, and legacies come to mind. Inform them that we are reorganizing, beginning with the charitable foundation. Funding for programs that assist single parents should be doubled. From where she sits at the computer, already working on the press release, Tara smiles. We hear a commotion outside, and through the glass walls, I see Adam being escorted out by federal officials, his flawless suit creased, his confidence mask finally shattered. He looks at me and begins to talk, but I turn away because some discussions aren't worth having. There's something else, Dr. Collins says, holding out another envelope. Precise instructions regarding Emma's trust were left by your father-in-law. Money isn't the only factor. The grant is a challenge. Projects for community investment must equal every dollar. Finally comprehending, I chuckle. He ensured that the legacy would not be taken. It must be earned. Speaking of earning, Sam adds, the investigative piece just went live. The cost of truth and corporate corruption. However, in my opinion, karma in the boardroom sounded more fitting. As Emma falls asleep, I make the decision. No more karma, and no more retaliation either. Simply move forward. Dr. Collins's eyebrow goes up. What about Adam? We face justice through proper channels. Richard's portfolio is closed by me. I'm done playing his games. Evelyn gets up to go but stops at the door. In my opinion, Richard made a wise decision. She nods to Emma, saying, not just for the company, but for her. When she leaves, I proceed to Richard's former office, where his nameplate still hangs on the door. It will soon read Harrison Industries Trust Management, and his presence permeates every thoughtfully chosen element. I discover a final message dated the day of his death tucked inside his desk calendar. Remember, knowing when to fight isn't what gives you power. Knowing when to stop is the key. I take Emma and inhale that lovely baby aroma as she wakes up, wanting attention with her father's determination, but mercifully, without any of his calculation. Are you prepared to return home? From the doorway, Sam asks. I corrected him, gathered our belongings, and said, not home. Forward. We bring lawyers, restructuring plans, and 1,000 decisions concerning Emma's future tomorrow, as reporters outside wait with questions about scandal and redemption. But now, In this silent triumph, I realized what Richard had known all along. Sometimes the best form of retaliation isn't demolishing what others have created, but rather creating something better out of the ashes they left behind.